Melissa.
And this is Family Magic Weekly, where we help you plan your Walt Disney World vacation by having you watch us plan ours. On this week's episode, we want to follow up on last week where we listed our resorts that we've been to in our own personal order of favorite to least favorite and discussed the positives of going to each. And we want to follow that episode up this week with a wish list, a list of places that we'd like to stay. We have a list of 5 that we've both gone over. This isn't something we're going to spring on each other. It's a list of 5. They're really in no particular order. However, if you want, you can pretend that they are. So let's get started. You want to start with our first one?
All right, the first one we talked about was Wilderness Lodge. We have been here for dinner at the Whispering Canyon Cafe, and walking into the lobby, it is one of those wow factors. I feel like it's a different theme of a very similar lobby to Animal Kingdom Lodge. It's very grand.
Makes a very similar impression on you. You know, it's a lot of wood. It's a gigantic log cabin, basically. They have a gigantic fireplace, rocking chairs you can sit in. But I talked last week about that lobby experience. This may have the best one.
So they have a lot of activities to do around the hotel, and there's also connected? Very close proximity.
Very close proximity to Fort Wilderness. Yeah.
And there are a lot of things to do at Fort Wilderness. There's a lot of people that go to Fort Wilderness for activities, for meals,
outdoor movies,
the campfire activities. I think Chippendale.
They show a movie at night in Chippendale. Have a sing along where you sit around a fire and you make s'mores. It's just something really great for the kids if you're if you're having a day outside of the parks, or you're ending your day at the parks early and you don't really feel like packing everyone up and heading back in for the evening. Fort Wilderness is a reasonable walk from Wilderness Lodge, and something to consider, even though it is in its own entity in terms of of a place to stay. You very much have pretty good access to the Fort Wilderness amenities when you're at Wilderness Lodge, so you can almost look at it as one complex. People from all over the resort will go there for activities.
Also, if you are driving around property, you can drive past Wilderness Lodge and not even know it's there. It's very tucked back. Mm-hmm. So they do a good job of submersing you in the wilderness feel. However, you are also very close to everything in that you are right on Bay Lake, and you can take a boat to Magic Kingdom. You can also go out back to the lake and watch the water pageant. They have a lot of boating, recreation activities. You can go fishing. Jogging trails. They have anything. It's one of those resorts that you could go to and never step foot in a theme park if you're that kind of person. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people that go to Disney and don't go into the theme parks, and they just enjoy the resorts. And that would be one that I could find myself, if we were to go to Wilderness Lodge, I could have a vacation like that, I think. Mm-hmm. So why don't we talk about 2?
All right, number 2. Wilderness Lodge is one of the deluxe resorts. Number 2 is what we consider to be the most appealing value resort for going to Disney World with kids, and that's Art of Animation. All of the value resorts seem very large. They all have a lot of great imagery for kids. There's a lot of visual stimuli for little kids walking in. Things for them to see. Art of Animation is one where they're gonna see imagery from the movies that you're showing them, the movies that they ask you to see repeatedly every day. In our mind, for a resort that's never going to let you forget where you are, this is the one. And for some of you, that might be a reason to not go there. But we're talking going with kids. If this is a trip where you really want something for your kids, something very Disney around the clock, it is basically the opposite of staying at the Contemporary or Bay Lake Tower.
So we've talked about probably after our 2018 trip, we would do Art of Animation because our kids will probably be 4 to 6 year old range. And they have a lot of things that I consider would be perfect for that age. They have themed rooms. So I was even telling Chris that I think that we could probably do an entire stay at Art of Animation and do a split stay in that half of the time we stay at a Little Mermaid themed room for our daughter, and then the other half we stay at like the Cars themed suites for our son, who's currently obsessed with cars. So they have themed rooms for, I think it's mostly Pixar movies, but I know that they have Little Mermaid themed rooms.
Yeah.
They also have a lot of, they have some very appealing pools on property. They have a Cozy Cone pool that's all Cars themed. They have
the Big Blue Pool.
The Big Blue Pool is Nemo themed, and it is the biggest pool on Disney property.
Right.
And it's really cool in that
when you go underwater, you can hear you can hear music. They're playing the music underwater, and is it music or?
I think it's talking to.
You can hear talking of
like Nemo and Dory and
Oh, I'm talking.
Yeah. So.
Like it's very much for kids, and there's the added benefit that it is a value resort. One of the misnomers of the value resort that makes people nervous is the issue of quality bus transportation. The resorts are so big and they're usually generally pretty full. So the concern is, well, how is it getting buses back and forth from the park? It's a very important thing, particularly if you're with kids and it's park closing time and you want to get home. Surprisingly, I believe I discussed it. It may have been last week that I discussed this. The value resorts are actually known for having some of the best bus transportation. They often use those double-decker accordion buses, and they take into account that you're dealing with a lot of people and you're dealing with a lot of families, and you need to get them back and forth in a timely manner before everybody melts down and goes home and never comes back. They don't want you to do that. So
and we've very often been standing at the bus stop and have seen them just coming in and going for Pop and Art of Animation and the All-Star Resorts, and they're just going and going and going all in the time that we're standing there waiting for ours. Not to say that we've ever been like fuming at the wait, but we see that like they definitely have a lot of transportation to accommodate the amount of people that they have on property at those huge value resorts. Yeah,
I mean, well, you know how it is. You're no matter when you're leaving, you're always running to the bus either just left or you're running to catch it. It's just the way that works.
But you don't. It's not a huge problem. Like Disney knows if you're standing at the bus stop, you're not spending money, and they're not going to keep you there long.
Yeah. So that's our number 2. Number 3.
So number 3 is the Grand Floridian.
Yeah.
And I think this is a big on our list. It's probably big on most people's lists for a lot of obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Number 1 is for me is the location. It's on the monorail, and like what else can you say?
Yeah.
The ease of getting off the monorail to get to the Magic Kingdom. Because, if you have been to Disney before, you know that the Magic Kingdom is the most difficult park to actually step foot in because it's not next to a parking lot. You have to park at transportation and take the boat or...
the ferry or the monorail.
Yeah. But to be able to just step on a monorail and go, it's priceless in my opinion.
It really doesn't, it's iconic. It's an iconic hotel. It's breathtaking. It's probably visually, it's probably their nicest hotel. Some people would debate that, I suppose, but there's no debating the fact that it is just very opulent, and it's got great dining options. You have Narcosis there. You have Citricos for those of you with little girls that enjoy that sort of thing. You have tea. You have is it a tea room or?
There's a tea room where you can do. They have the high tea, and I think you can dress up as a Disney princess, or they have Disney princesses. I don't know. We haven't gotten to the stage of planning Disney princess trips yet, but with that, and then if you are wanting to do adult time, either your children are old enough for babysitters, or you brought a babysitter, or you don't have children, there's Victoria and Albert's, which is the only restaurant on property that is for adults only, and it's got a strict dress code.
It's one of the few. It's one of a very select few restaurants in the United States that actually require you to wear a jacket. It used to be back in the day, a lot did, but there really aren't as many now. But Victoria and Albert's is one of them. That's really, it's not even. You can't even, if you look at it as just a meal, it's something you would consider to be overpriced, and you may still think it's overpriced. But for the for those that have gone, us not being two of them, they say it's almost like it's a show on top of everything else. Yeah, it's the presentation, the service is a show. It's something. It's kind of like a once in a lifetime sort of thing. Definitely something you wouldn't be doing with kids, but. It's there if you wanted to use Disney babysitting services and go out for the night. That's always an option. So that brings us to number 4.
All right, so number 4 is a moderate resort. It's Caribbean Beach. As far as price goes, I think it's at the lower end of the moderate resorts. Mm-hmm. The moderate resorts are actually pretty graciously spaced out price-wise. But Caribbean Beach has really good theming, and I think that that's something that would also appeal to children.
Particularly if you have a son that likes pirates.
Yes. So they have a zero entry pool, which if you don't know what a zero entry pool is...
I don't even know. How would you get in it?
There's no entry.
Yeah.
It's like a beach. You just walk right in. There's no steps or curbs. I don't know what you'd call that. But it's a zero entry pool, and it's themed to a Spanish fort. It's got water slides. It's really neat looking. Don't hear a lot about Caribbean Beach unless you have stayed there. So I did have to do a little research on this one. They have pirate themed rooms. So you can your son or you can sleep in a pirate ship, which is, I think it's pretty cool.
It's a dream of everyone, I would imagine.
They also have... Who doesn't want to sleep in a pirate ship?
That one right off the list.
They also have, which is really good for kids, for ages 4 to 12, they have a Pirates Adventure Cruise that you can do, which I think... when the kids are older, we'll drop them off for that and then head to Victoria and Albert's. There are a lot of resorts, we didn't mention that there are a lot of resorts that have experiences for kids that you can, if they're of the age and you feel comfortable, you can send them off to do their own thing, and you can use that as a babysitting service, like the Pirates Adventure Cruise. I know that there's also, I think it's mostly the DVC resorts, but they have drop-ins where you can drop the kids off for a night. Well, not overnight, but for
Beach and Yacht. I think Beach and Yacht Club have one of those. That I think they share it.
I know Animal Kingdom Lodge has one.
Yeah.
That you can drop them off for 3 or 4 hours at night, and they play games and do crafts and watch a movie, and you can go out. So that's something that Caribbean Beach offers, is that Pirates Adventure Cruise. But just looking into it, it seemed like the theming was something that, again, like Art of Animation, might not be for the adults, but it definitely is for the kids.
Right.
And, probably something that older kids would kind of phase out of. They're going to, the appeal is going to be that probably 4 to 12-year-old group.
Right.
So
Yeah, who the group who the cruise is intended for.
yeah.
Yeah.
So try telling a 17-year-old that they're going to be sleeping in a pirate ship. They're probably going to say they're too cool.
Yeah.
And then when they're 21.
Yeah.
So that brings us to our final.
Our number 5 on the list. Yeah, so for number 5, it comes back to the Crescent Lake area for us, as it often does, and that's Boardwalk. We've stayed, as you remember, or as you may remember us talking about last week, which, by the way, if you haven't watched last week's video, definitely check that out. But we mentioned that we stayed at Beach Club, and while we spoke a lot about the resort, really the star of that resort is the area that it's in, and this Boardwalk is is in the same area, directly across Crescent Lake, set back from the Boardwalk area. This resort just has everything that you would get from Beach Club. It's got the access to Epcot. It's got all of the amenities at the Boardwalk in terms of you got your Boardwalk Bakery.
There's tons of restaurants on Boardwalk.
Yeah, you have some restaurants there. There's a lounge. There's
jelly rolls.
The piano bar.
ESPN zone.
There's also miniature golf in that area. A lot of people don't mention that. That's a great activity for a day that you don't intend on going to the parks. You have some miniature golf there. So
I think unlike any of the resorts that I might be wrong. Any of the resorts that we've mentioned in our wish list or places we have stayed before. Boardwalk is a convention center as well. So there are certain rules for Boardwalk that don't apply to other resorts. Such as if you are the type, like we are, that orders groceries and has them shipped. A lot of people have been jumping on the having things ordered on Amazon and shipped. Because Boardwalk is a convention center, they do charge a holding fee for packages. It's just what they do. So that's something to keep in mind if you are going for a long stay and planning on having a lot of things shipped to your resort.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. That's good to know. So Boardwalk, very much the same reasons that we love Beach Club. And it's just an option for us to stay in that area, which we enjoy. Also, and then walking, a healthy walk's distance to Hollywood Studios.
Boat rides are available to all those places as well.
You can see you get a good view of the finale illuminations at Epcot. I imagine you have a good view of the new Star Wars fireworks. Although I can't say for sure, but I believe they shoot those up pretty high into the sky in the center of the park. So I imagine you'll be able to see a good portion of those.
I will say that I, with young children, am slightly hesitant to stay at Boardwalk. I think it's probably for older kids, because believe it or not, a lot of people are afraid of the pool.
Yeah, there's a creepy clown in the pool.
There's a creepy clown. It's a water slide.
It's a statue. It's not an actual creepy clown, and that's a big thing in the news these days. Is the creepy clowns, whether or not they've actually done anything or not, we don't know. But that.
So, to the best of my knowledge, the clown mouth is a water slide.
Yeah.
So you come out of its mouth. And I have seen pictures of it. It's just quite creepy. So maybe if you have a skittish young child, Boardwalk might not be something to put on the list right away.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing to consider with little kids is, just going back to the fireworks. There's going to be fireworks every night. If you're someone that's trying to adhere to a routine with the kids in terms of bedtime, an 8 o'clock bedtime, I believe Illuminations shoots off at maybe 8:45 or 9. So it's something to consider, because when we were at Beach Club, it's definitely, it's very loud, and it sabotaged the first night of bed for our son, and he was in our bed the rest of the trip.
Yeah, and when we So when we were staying, that's also something. Yeah, like
Yeah.
he said, it's something to definitely consider and look into. It has its pros and cons. We were kept awake. Well, we weren't, but our son was kept awake by illuminations while we were at Beach Club, and then when we were at Bay Lake Tower, it was the blaring music of the water pageant.
Yeah.
And which is significantly later than the fire.
Yep.
I think it was like 11. Was it
Yeah.
11 when it finally came around to our
Yeah,
side of the
'cause
hotel?
it goes all the way around.
And man, was it
by
loud.
the time it gets back in the Bay Lake, it's So that's our 5. What's your 5? Why is our 5 wrong? Let us know.
And if you've stated any of these that we mentioned, tell us what you thought of them. Whether we should take them off our list or make them a possibility for this coming trip.
Absolutely. This is this is all, last week with this week, this is all culminating to the idea of us picking where we want to stay in January of 2017 when we go. So, any sort of, we got plenty of time. So any sort of feedback, anything you think we should consider, anything we've left out, or any questions you have, definitely reach out to us. We are on Facebook at Family Magic Weekly. We are on Instagram at Family Magic Weekly. I'm probably going to throw a graphic up here anyway,
Yep.
so I can do anything. And then we are also on Twitter at Family Magic WKOY.
Chris doesn't know what we're on Pinterest to.
We're on Pinterest. Well, Amanda does crafts, so it makes sense. That's what that's for, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm on PlayStation Network also, but that's nothing to do with Family Magic Weekly at all. So, thanks for watching. Anything you want to add?
Audrey says hi.
Audrey says hi. She's
Her bouncer right here.
Yeah, she's not laying. We don't have her just laying on the floor. She's in her bouncer. But thanks for watching. And
We'll see you next week.
be careful.